Welcome back to VCT Americas, where, would you believe it, we're going to map 3 in another 12-6 situation. KRU find themselves in it, but this time around, Sean, they close it out with only one extra round there.
Yeah, this time they're on the defensive side of Ascent, which is where they're a lot more comfortable. You can see, like, once they hit 12 rounds, I think everyone knew they were actually going to win this game. On the other hand, on Lotus, it was like a little sketchy, right? They're on that defensive side of Lotus. Things can fall apart. But what is happening here? 12-6, 2 maps in a row against Cloud9?
Right, well, part of this, right, Valen, is like so KRU's cruising to victory here, 13-6 in map number 2, but we're left wanting more out of that Cloud9 composition than where we get our first look.
Yeah, I wanted to see more maybe burst plays coming out of Cloud9, not only just site executing, but bursting just for map control. I felt like they were contacting a lot of areas, maybe, you know, just doing like a typical flash plus smoke to take map control, but they could have comboed, you know, jet dash plus breach stun plus flash into garden. We didn't see much of that, and I think we saw a lot of extremity pops, but which honestly is pretty good with that composition. But KRU is holding it down, especially Davies here, man. On B site, he was holding it down. Like,
I was just gonna say, we're wanting more out of Cloud9. We're getting everything we want out of KRU and Davies in particular. Sean, we asked the question: is he gonna stick to the Sentinels? Will he hop back to the KO that he's known for on this map? It is the KO, and even still, the pistol rounds were just on point for him, setting his team up for early success.
Yeah, I can't believe it. He was injured, right? He took a break for a week or two. He comes back in. He looks so revitalized now. Totally different player. And let's not forget, this is that original KRU lineup, and we hadn't really seen it for a few weeks. And they're clearly gelling, right? This is the team that looks prepped. I'm a little nervous for Cloud9 right now, if I'm being honest, heading into Split. KRU might look like they could get their first series right at the finish line.
Definitely. I feel like KRU this entire series has felt kind of in control. They let it slip at the end of Lotus.
Right.
But even at the beginning of Lotus and the entire Ascent map, I felt like they've been in control. Kesnet's popping off. Davies is popping off. The whole team is vibing, playing well. So Split is going to be a banger map for sure.
Yeah, gonna say, yeah, KRU probably looking at this like they already should have wrapped it up in 2-0 fashion. So they should still feel confident moving into the third and final map. I do want to get a brief hit, though, on Kesnet, though, because while Davies was putting up the numbers in the early rounds, Kesnet, man, he just found another gear, another level. I think there were 4 rounds in a row where he put up multi-kills, 3K, 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 4K on the back half.
And it was like Vandals, too. It was hardly ever with an operator on Ascent as a Jet.
It was huge rounds, too. The bonus at 8-6, closing the game out here at 10. Like, this guy's dropping 4Ks, 3Ks on all the big moments, taking it home for his team, and that's a big reason why they got that large lead, and this time they didn't choke the 12-6.
Yeah, on his day, he can absolutely stack up against the best of the best in the duelist class, and that's what we've seen here. And in all honesty, in reference back to the first map of the day, Leaf on the other side seems to not be quite at his peak form.
Yeah, Leaf is having a bit of struggles here today, and I don't know if that's because maybe they're not innovating, maybe he's doing some of the same stuff, so it's readable for KRU. But also, I think there's a lot of aggression I'm seeing out of Leaf that typically he plays a little bit more reserved, less things come to him. Going back to the first map, he was like running through high tides and stuff, playing a little bit more loose today.
Yeah, definitely. I think Leaf is kind of playing a bit more loose, but also you can't just look at Leaf. I would say you have to look at the supporting staff as well, because a lot of times he's diving into these map control areas or diving into the site. Maybe flashes or breach stuns aren't hitting as well, or just based off the KRU positioning, the support util is not hitting the spot, so he's getting free deaths. Like, Davies killed him multiple times on the entry early, and it was kind of hard to heat up for him.
Yeah, Cloud9 let Ascent get away from him. They still have an opportunity to get this one done and end on a high note with a win on Split. And when it comes to Split, again, I gotta wonder whether or not we return to comfort or if they're gonna continue to try stuff out, right? That's part of what we saw there on Ascent, was a composition yet that we hadn't seen before, and I do want to afford them a little bit of benefit of the doubt. You know, end of the season, maybe they're trying something because they know they can't lose their second seed. But at the end of the day, how much do you want to try stuff, you know, right at the end of the split?
You definitely want to take this win home if you're Cloud9. You're going into the playoffs as a guaranteed second seed. You want this kind of confidence booster and possibly even getting the first seed. I wanted to retouch on what Sean said at the beginning of the day, where they don't want to be second seed because then you're going to have to play NRG in round 2. So they definitely want this win to give them hope at getting the first seed.
Look at that. Leaf off of the Duelist. They've done this before in the past on Split. And I don't know how you feel about this, Valen, but I'm not in love with this comp, right, on Split. You just have a solo controller, so being manipulative around the A site on attack is going to be really difficult with no Cypher cages and a single controller.
Yeah, I would say that they use the Astra utility combined with the Sky at A. You're going to see that a lot coming out of Cloud9. They use Astra Smoke in the middle to cut off the ramp line and the A main line from sight, and they use Sky util to actually become the lurker. You're going to see Leaf dropping Sky flashes into top ramp. Is that clear? Take the space. Is it not clear? Dog. Continue pressure, which is very kind of uncommon on Split. But yeah, they got their ways to do some A pressure.
Couple things to look out for here as we dive into our third and final map of the series. It's split between Cloud9 and KRU. If you got the Croupium left in the tank, though, now is the time to use it. Let's send things back to Brennan Sideshow for map number 3.
Thank you very much, Dash. Yeah, let's get to it here. It's the end of the line for KRU versus Cloud9, and wow, we land on Split here, Josh, as well. Listen, a bit of cope maybe, if you want to hear it, is this double duelist comp that KRU like to play. You know, the Raze and the Jet. Typically, what ends up happening is, you know, whoever's running the Raze, Ashedi or Davies, you know, they have a bit of a downturn in the performance. But the way Davies has been playing, if he carries on the form from the first 2 maps inwards, you have this double threat now of the duelist. We already know Kesnet's firing on all cylinders. If Davies is as well next to him, if he carries that forwards, Cloud9 might be in a bit of trouble.
And Davies' individual performance has been spectacular today. I could kind of believe it. They've had some close losses on Split. They are 0-4 on this map, though, KRU. It's not been a good one for them.
4 players from KRU grouped up. That's just a contact taking of the fight.
Major pick by Kesnet.
Yeah, with Leaf falling.
So much about this double duelist is just getting them fired early. And Kesnet's been winning a lot of those early duels compared to usual.
Forced to adjust and adapt now for Cloud9. They're going for some contact plays of their own. Jig with a movement though, so Snakebite landed at the feet, and with the orb in play, no one can get past this one. Bleeding time.
Everyone on KRU is in.
Yeah, they're in the
spawn.
What's going on here?
They buy guns.
What is going on here? They have rotated all the way around. They've given up all of A. Flash play. Cloud9, meanwhile, they're exploring. They're like, where's the presence here? Like, they're moving around. They're on a swivel.
Absolutely crazy.
Cloud9's goal was to put presence into ropes and try and land B, but they've just swarmed Nagzed instead, who's alone on the north side of the map.
Yeah, but if they end B,
it's all flipped. They're ending B, and they've lost B main. It's all been gathered up. This is bizarre. This is all over the place. Spotted the position, spotted the players. It's anyone's game at this point. Fully blinded up. Spamming the common angle there. Still returns. Spike going to be dropped down. Remaining. Bullets to the back. And still can't hold it. That's Kesnet with 3.
That's a nutty pistol round from KRU. They 4-1 stack A, get the first kill, and then push all the way into spawn. Bizarre, but it works. It throws Cloud9 off completely.
Threw me off.
Yeah. Sometimes when you're such an underdog coming into a game like this, your best option is just to do stuff that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just do things that are going to throw off the way that Cloud9 play. Cloud9 did that themselves, I think, by playing an unusual comp that we hadn't seen from them on Ascend. But yeah, Kesnet gets 3 kills, and he and Davies are the players that we're going to need to see fired up. This is an extremely standard defensive setup. We've seen every team that plays double duelist run this.
Holding the ground in mid. Oh, jump spot. Bullets rattled off, dropped to 40 health. Back away with the smoke as well. Good util though. Flips out on both sides. Heals in play. So any sort of damage done going to be removed, healed back up. And it is Cloud9 hunting for that first shot. An opportunity. Flex the statistics. Maybe they can get a win on the ecos yet again. Have a good nade. Zepp. Ooh, satchel. Gets him out of danger. Guns ferried away as well. Not to give any more advantages over. You've already lost a player, but an explosion towards Heaven now. Moving their way through. Waiting for the util to come back online. Flash doesn't connect. It's a perfect timing given to Davies. He's able to swing out there. Nobody was really watching for it. Jumping, right-clicking. Hoping for a bit of a blessing. Still, they've managed to maneuver themselves into great ankles, and one more shot would have done it there, but it's left down to this. Kesnet versus Zeppa. Another nade. Bounded away, pushes it back. Time is running short. Spike out in the open with the Spectre.
Another Cloud9
Another thrifty.
The amount of 50s in this match has just been ludicrous. But I mean, for the map that decides it, to begin like this just feels like more of the same. This whole series has been topsy-turvy.
Yeah.
But of course, we know Cloud9 excellent at those kind of rounds, and they show us why. Really patient, extremely disciplined, and setting all their players up to try and double face, trade, swing for each other. They also use a lot of utility on eco rounds, which a lot of other teams don't want to because they've bought up fully. They don't want to go into the next round with you know, pieces of that kit missing.
Great migration for KRU, isn't it? They hear the signs of the utility going off towards the B site, and all of them stomping herd of elephants running all the way through with the shorty at that angle. You're not favored. Dropping down, flooding down into the site. KRU look to try and take it to them straight away with the sheriffs. Rattling off. Dash active, so Kesnet is safe, but for how much longer when he's dropped down to 20 health? Turret spots that, so they know that Elza was peeking, pushing. Two of them left alive at this point, just trying to do damage.
One enemy remaining.
Anticipating the close corner there. Flash. Easy setup. And 3 of the guns should be being kept, I believe. Yep. Okay, yeah, an exchange there, just making sure that they get 3 of those rifles into this next round.
And a showstopper on board for Zeppa, who's 6-1 right now. And I think putting Zeppa into this carry position, he's actually been individually performing better than Leaf, I would say, over the course of this match.
Yeah.
And that's unusual. That hasn't really happened so far this season. Zeppa's been, you know, happy to just put in his shift, do what his team needs, and set up Leaf to have the carries. And obviously the roles are swapped here as we go into split. That's how this team functions. But you still often see Leaf have the God game on Sky.
Any roll.
There's Kesnet instantly again. The punish onto Rooney. And Rooney's really far forwards.
Yeah. I believe just catching a glimpse as the wall was going up there. Handed the sightline. The tap of it. He wants more. He's got confidence. Been saying it all game long. When Kesnet gets fired, all the way up, very difficult to stop him.
Oh, timing. I think Nag's got past the boombot there, but it's all right. The rest of Cloud9 have backed things up. They're in a 3v5 situation.
It's being contained.
Yeah, and they don't own anything. Melza's
making a lot of noise.
Melza's got tons of info. There's 4 players stacked on A. How can Cloud9 possibly skill their way out of this situation? It does not look doable.
Okay, ult in the hands of Zeppa. Showstopper maybe, even though he just takes the raw gunfight. Now it's time to unleash it. Rocket is there.
Never say never.
Satchel up in the air. We'll see what he can do. Clears out the sight from it. It's a bit of a flip now. Heaven control going to be gained here for KRU. All of them grouped up.
I think you've got to do something proactive, though, if you're Cloud9 in this spot.
You don't have good post-plant positions.
No, not at all. And you have a player disadvantage. How do they even do anything proactive, though? They can't get anywhere.
Everything's being watched for.
No utility either. All been deployed.
Yeah, got to hit your shots. That's what it feels like. That's what it comes down to. Stun. Forwards. Celsius wouldn't have been favored there. Kesnet eventually is traded there, but not before he's done a lot of that damage as well with 3 kills in a round. Nade backing away, just trying to buy time! And they weren't watching for that. Tuna spray down up to Davies and can't win it.
That's a 3v5, and only one of them falls.
Everyone
Cloud9 won that.
Covering perfectly. Weaving in and out. Great nade from Zeppa as well. Stopped anybody just pushing up onto the site scaling.
He started that round 6-1 and got 3 kills as well. Nigh unkillable. Zeppa really putting in the work here. I'm amazed at that. I asked the question, how are they going to outskill? And it just came down to Zeppa raw swinging the player at vent, making space with his showstopper, and then fragging out in the post plan. This team has so many players that can turn up when their team needs it and carry around.
For Cloud9 as well, with Zeppa playing the better game over this series, maybe it's a good thing that he is a central player, playing that duelist to take the first shot, to take the first engagement.
He ducked right underneath the shot.
Yeah, and Zeppa's feeling it now. Satchels, the pathing. Makes his move over towards Nubos. Shots there, could have found a little bit more, but only the one, and it is so damn clean.
He's on fire.
He's on fire.
We were talking about Kesnet and Davies, and you made the point, Brent, that if Davies was stepping up to the level that we've seen from him in the series so far, this would be a very difficult duo for Cloud9 to stop. And instead, it's been the Raze on the other side. These shots are ludicrous from Zephyr. So good.
Look at that.
Great work. Wasn't as much danger in that round, obviously. The crew being knocked down to the half buy, but it has forced out the timeout now because they've realized that they're letting something slip away here.
Zephyr might even find himself with another showstopper towards the end of this round.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got that kind of level, like we were seeing from Davies in map 1, where he had lockdown after lockdown after lockdown. Same could be said. I'm waiting for Davies to have another big round. It feels like they were coming all throughout this match, and he hasn't really found the moments. Kesnet has. He's been getting aggressive on these early angles a lot and finding success. Now, Cloud9 have still been able to bully their way back in. But the timeout here, I feel like it's so disheartening for these teams where they're the underdog and they had a good chance to be able to 2-0, and then it gets to map 3 and the map pool depth ends up being a problem for them.
It's a real task.
We've seen it so often in this split, and I think quite often with crew.
Yeah, how do you dispel the little voice that's going to be at the back of your head for a lot of these crew players thinking, we could have had this in 2.
Yeah.
We just closed out Lotus.
They could already be celebrating.
Could have been celebrating, and now we're sitting here, and the round differential is increasing and increasing, slipping away. But that's what the timeout is for, to settle those nerves and maybe get back on the board, get the momentum.
Taking that back.
Kesnet has the op over towards A, but there's no Cloud9 bodies in that area. Instead, 3 from Cloud9 working up mid.
Snake bite.
Tickles the toes of Leaf.
Yeah, just to deny them any of that space that they can scale with, but it's a boom bot.
Alarm bot out.
Trailblazer as well utilized both at the same time here. Zelsis with the lockdown, trying to push them back. Not sure what the goal was, maybe just try and threaten that they could be there, but it's a reclear from crew into mid. They're giving up their space. Lovely util into the back of the site, clears that one out. There was a gap there.
Davies has a showstopper here. He could definitely ult off the
They're
plan.
going to try and flood in. Yeah, okay, Cosmic Divine, Rooney, what a kill! What a shot! And still the position is held. Down into hell, Leaf is low, Seekers up top. Now he knows where the last 2 are. Uses it to reposition. Plant only just going down, but not a worry for Cloud9. Left themselves, it was a 4v2 or a 3v2. Maybe overstepping themselves. Rifle now. Leaf is low. Single shot maybe could do it. Dashing forwards. No way, Zephyr misses that. Kesnet can't be getting away with this. But yet he does. Cleans house. Nags to help him out at the end. What a round and what a performance.
Another player disadvantage situation, but this time going the way of crew. These individual heroics have been everything so far on Split. Kesnet looks like he's on fire. He's been winning the early round engagements and now cleans up a round for his team too. This map feels like 4 players setting up their stars on both sides.
Yeah.
It's just a anime battle between Kesnet and Zephyr, and the others are there to throw utility and die for the cause. God, that second kill is so snappy.
Very fast of it. That was large player advantage to Cloud9. Let's slip away. And it's exactly what crew needed. Try and get back in control.
Obscuring
Usual
vision.
game being played here with a utility that's sent back and forth at the beginning of these rounds. Only just using a Trailblazer. Crew. Bots. Well, gets broken before it can do any damage. Cloud9 have worked themselves in this advanced position into mid, but where do you go from here?
Well, it looks like Rooney's going to hold the ult up into beat heaven. And this is major.
Clears through. There's a nade to deny that space stuff. It's good utility. Double satchel though, straight past it. Wow, winning that fight out low enough though. There's a trade still, Leaf active on the map. Swings wide. Make sure that that does not get...
Oh, the flash is bad.
Flash is bad. Can't land the shots though,
Player
and well,
standing.
Just trying to get out of there. Down to the staircase, opens it up. Kesnet with the op. Forced to back away, forced to save.
I love the way that Zeppa played that on the entry. Rolling Thunder comes through and clears up through B Heaven. And you're right, it was denied by a nade from Davies. And that feels like a one-for-one trade, where you've traded an ult for a piece of utility. But it's not. Zeppa's very fast with his double blast back in there, because he knows even if a player's held their ground with the nade, they're going to be stunned. Oh, Kesnet now giving away his positioning.
Yeah,
should get hunted.
Should get hunted. He's got to fend them off. They're eager to remove that weapon.
Doesn't look like they're going to be able to, though.
Yeah, not going to be able to clear him out of that position. But you're seeing the real strengths of Cloud9 shining in a round like that. Just the way they play off this. I mean, you were just about to bring it up, Josh, but the double satchel pass as well. There's the backup as well as he's got his teammate behind him to swing wide. Yeah, there's an attempt at the punish. And Leaf's there as well.
They're very smart at understanding which space is theirs that they can go and take for free. Kesnet with an op in this round that he saved from the previous, and Nags with a judge. That's it. That's all they've got to work with here. Both teams should be attacking favored, I think, on this map. Just the compositions that KRU, I mean, mainly it's KRU's comp.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make the entire match, the entire map feel attacker-sided. But KRU finding a couple of moments. Oh, that re-swing almost.
They're still alive. Showstopper now. Round to the side. Brings out on Klaus. Sole player anchoring, looking to see if he could do any sort of damage. At this point as well, when it gets to situations like this, it can feel like the operator is like a tether. It stops you from really being able to play aggressively. You trying to carry it forward all the time. Looks like an attempt is made though, regardless. Okay, bit of an upgrade there. Long range with the op. Everyone turning their back. Melzer is doing damage. It's down to just Rooney. 1 versus 2 behind the screens, spamming the corners. Snakebite isolating the fight. Low enough. That'll do it. Melzer sprays it through, sprays it down. Sticks to the fuse. That's a round win when they invested half again.
They only had an operator and a judge in that round. It's a thrifty where Kesnet gets a pick with the op, Melzer gets 2 later on with the operator, and then finishes off a player with a phantom that was picked up. All in all, they found a lot of good value there. Melzer does a great job at this because it is a tricky situation, like you said, Brent. It can feel like a bit of an anchor, having to worry, oh, do I save the orb? Do I go for it? What do I do?
And they went for it there. Works out.
But Kesnet has been so good at getting these first kills in this match so far. He's just been monstrous at them.
Yeah.
He's winning about 70% of the time compared to his usual 45%. Can't be overstated how much of a difference that makes.
There's a standard setup that we're now seeing as well from KRU. The Viper's Pit drop down towards A main. It should funnel them into Kesnet, but he has to hit the flick, and he's not capable of it. It's too hard even for him. Good movement with the satchels. Out in the open though, with the smoke's dropping. Maybe a chance, maybe an opening. But the site's going to be gained here. An attempt at the flood. Util nade, drop down. Zeppa firing off his. Jake watching. No one able to drop down into hell to try and punish it. And again, has to be the save, has to be backing away in a blink of an eye.
I was just talking about the way that Kesnet has been so successful on the first kills, and he takes another one of those early fights and loses to Zeppa. And Zeppa's been phenomenal at it, 5-0 so far on Split. So, as much as Kesnet's getting value in the early, so is Zeppa.
Yeah.
Even better.
He's really stepped up. I mean, he's been having a good game this entire time, this entire series.
One down.
Not expecting that one, but they spot his position. Trying to hunt out that last gun. Player saving, no, giving it up. Cloud9. 6-3. Couple more chances now in the first half.
Yeah, what we've seen, Brent, on map 1 and map 2 is KRU going up 12-6. So they're going to win the next 9 rounds in a row. And then we'll see what happens.
Yep.
Okay, we're going to give KRU 9 rounds.
They're going to equalize.
Yeah. And then we'll play.
Okay. Got it. Got it. That is how it's gone.
I don't know whether history is going to be the same here.
Yeah.
It's a very different start in the map, isn't it? Cloud9 look like they've come out, not all of their players, but Zeppa in particular, with a vengeance. Refuse to lose. That kind of mentality. And this pressure in mid is drawing Kesnit as he looks for the first engagement.
Oh my! Bullet stopping it in its tracks. The momentum was halted there. Trying to glide into the site. Flash, but nowhere to really push and punish. Cosmic Divide gives him a free plant now for Heaven.
Kesnit is so quick.
They are
well
really
that
quick,
round.
actually. That is so active.
They know Leaf is here because they heard his utility being used in mid early on in the round.
So taking up the space towards main. The wall going down. It's an angle there, but now they've seen Leaf. He needs backup, he needs help here. KRU needs to try and take him out over the top. The updraft. One more knife. Oh, no way. Leaf is a nuisance. Eventually removed, but has he done enough damage? That's bought so much time here. The post-plant positions of Cloud9 still not good, but they've been in this situation before, and they've been good for it. Panic settling in. The util's there. Fault line, a pull. Flashes as well. Nothing's favored. And a hard call has to be made. Back out, give up the round. Well, mutually assured destruction with that one, but yeah.
Everybody going down. Both teams with enough money as well. So it's, oh, actually, Cloud9 not looking too great here. Perhaps they should still be able to cobble something together. I think they'll be fine. And Kesnit managed to save enough to get an operator online too, so we'll get a serious end to this half. It feels like unless Kesnit is able to sniff out where the hit is coming from and get that first pick, it's just been impossible for KRU to find the momentum and player advantage they need to close things.
Well, here's a chance. Turret contact. That's going to force out that fault line. Zephyr, I thought that was intentional, not with the movement, but off to the side, maybe was looking to punish. And of course, Kesnit takes the re-peek.
He had a chance there.
Yeah,
a
just didn't
really
land
good
it.
one. Interesting that they prioritize getting an orb onto Zelsis instead of Rooney, who would have had his Rolling Thunder available. Look, the spike stays in B main, they come around to mid, and they come around to A, just to try and spread out the defenders a little bit again.
We've seen this game plan. The Seekers are going to try and make this really feel like an A hit, especially with the players. And Cloud9 starting to now make their moves up towards Ropes. But guess what? It is just that bait and switch. The Spike has no intention of moving away from the main position.
This
Players
is
are going to
wild.
start running it down. I mean, this really does feel like it's an A hit.
Well, they've committed 2 people to A.
Of course. Why wouldn't it? And they've taken the bait. It's a free plant as well. Rooney's going to be able to get that down onto the absolute opposite ends of the map, of the world. It's down to this, though. Nax, he realizes he's got that window of opportunity to work his way into the map with 1 kill now, but it's still a 2 versus 4, and Kesnit's retaken with the off.
Kesnit's got a player in front and a player behind. He's sandwiched.
Running up, footsteps. What? Hitting that. Doesn't land a second. Short is okay. That's how that ends.
Right there.
That's how that ends.
Last round in the half.
What is this match?
Sure. Okay.
What is this match?
All right.
Oh my god. They just knifed the player that's 13 and 8. After he hit a 180 scoped in flick with the
I mean,
These rounds are something else. That's very creative. What is that? He had to pick up his mouse 3 times.
he was. Oh my! I mean, okay.
This is a true end of the season kind of game.
It really is. It really is. Double faced up again. It's the same at fault line. Stuns up the 2 players. KRU cannot stand it. A lockdown. Utilized. Drop down.
They still have breach ult for this too.
Yeah. They can start to lay these ults now as we look.
Satchel out.
Oh my goodness. Satchel, what is the play here? I mean, the stun is going to be pushing them all the way back. KRU, they just want to throw everything at this one with the judge. It's just not a good fight to take. Still swinging through damage. Definitely done towards Nubox. And a crossfire setup. It's dangerous. With Kesnit on the high ground, he's removed a lot of that threat. A minute left. Players out in the open. They don't have the spike down. For KRU, a possibility, a chance.
The Guardian spam has done so much, and Celsius is trying to plant behind a box that's extremely spammable.
No one's in that position, though. It's being held. Interesting call to be able to take this fight here close to the corner. No one from Heaven. Flash around the side. Is it going to be anything to capitalize? Moving around, spraying it through. It's a 2-on-2. Lodo. That's the players. Lodo!
Last player
Left it to the
standing.
1-on-1. Rooney. A tap. Not planted for him. Doesn't take the bait. Doesn't push forwards.
Ice
He knows he's not sticking it. He's granted a chance. Smoke. Down, Melzer! Lands the shot, finds it with 3. And maybe, just maybe, he's made it that much more winnable. For the first half, it's a big deficit with the rounds. Cloud9 leading this one. 4 being the difference.
And I do think that KRU's composition is going to lend itself to being attack-sided. They have double duelist. We haven't really seen Davies get online necessarily, but Kesnet has been storming out towards the front.
Yeah.
Too easy.
So
too easy.
I think a pistol round, and this is going to be a serious attempt from KRU to get back into it. I think Cloud9 are going to have to really fend something off here.
Well, ahead of today's matchup, I did get Leaf's thoughts on facing a team like KRU. It was one team, you know, that has nothing to lose.
I mean, yeah, there's always a danger. You're either gonna get, you know, like a wounded animal that's just like ready to like pounce at you with like its last breath, or you're just gonna get something that's just gonna like take its literal last breath and just die. So there's no in between of what we're gonna get. We're either just gonna be 5v5 aim mapping, I'm sure, or we're just gonna like it'll be easy. But I don't know. I don't know which one I'm gonna get.
Quite fitting, I think, from Leaf there as well. I mean, a pretty accurate description as well. Quite creative with it. He should be a caster after this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I like the metaphor, but either way, he did say it was KRU's last breath.
Last breath, yeah.
But that's what it is in the season, right? There's 0 and 8 currently.
Final chance to make something of it.
Yeah, looking towards LCQ. But I think it's definitely the former. KRU have come out here with an attitude of, let's go out with a bang. Davies' individual performance has been fantastic up until this final map, and that's who I'm looking at mostly as we head into the next half, because this double duelist composition, it can be so pacey, so aggressive. And Kesnet's been firing on all cylinders. And that kind of feels like the story previous times where KRU has played on Split. But he needs somebody right there with him.
Just that extra firepower to offset what Cloud9 are bringing. When a player like Zeppa is in this kind of form, 17-7. That's what he's sitting at when it comes to kills to deaths.
Yeah, the performance that Zeppa pulled out on the attack side has got to be replicated by Davies. I mean, the entry success rate was through the roof as well for Zeppa. Just diving into every situation and picking them apart. It's quite an interesting composition, though, that Cloud9 have, too. It doesn't have the double controller. You don't have to try and get through the Viper utility in mid. None of the decay and the vulnerable, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But you've got the bridge there to be potentially a bit more aggressive and set yourself up for good retake utility. The desk were having a discussion about whether or not they liked the comp in general. But I just, you know, whenever you're going up against it, you've got to think about the strengths and the weaknesses of various compositions and how you try to attack it.
Yeah.
I think KRU are just going to be going on an all-out offensive.
And they should. The double duelist trends towards it. Makes Split feel more attack-sided these days when it's being ran, and there you have it. Straight into mid. Clearing this one out. Is it going to be a 3-2-1 double drop down to clear it? No, just a nano swarm. Used in response. That was, yeah, just at the top of the ropes there, so pushes it back, but Davies not being dissuaded. Rest of his team now grouping up towards A main, looking for a bit of a split attempt.
And KRU's attack side calling has been similar to this all day. Take an area of the map, and then cut noise. Wow, that's going to give him a chance.
Though. There's a flash. Flicks to the side, does claim the one kill. Fully blinded up, Kesnet's there. He's got his back with the space created. Quick to jump on it.
Nice, opportunistic.
I got the plan down though. That's going to be the nade and the stun. Is that going to be pushing them back? That was planted for Heaven. They didn't have any control of it. It grants Zeppa an easy one. Pushing now forwards as well with that flash to try and retake that ramp control. Close position. Snags there holding to the wall. He's going to get spotted here potentially. Yeah, he is. I mean, he was just holding, I think, in front of Flowers or something like that, but didn't have screens control. It's falling apart before our very eyes with Klaus stunned up low enough. It's run and gun that finishes it.
I like the idea there from KRU in terms of, you know, finding that first pick, dodging the showstopper, flashing, getting the kill into Heaven. But the plan for Heaven, there's no post plant set up to push screens or push ramp and actually play off that. There's no lurker coming through mid. It doesn't really make too much sense to me, especially when you don't have that space and grant Zeppa a free kill on the planter. And I think Crew needed the pistol to get back into this.
Yeah. I mean, that's fair to say. At this point, Cloud9 sailing away with it, aren't they? Would have probably preferred to try and make this, you know, not as close, not as
Let's go.
distances in terms of where we are right now, sitting at this map number 3.
It's one of those bizarre matches where both teams would have preferred to win in 2.
Yeah.
Even though only one team really had the opportunity.
Right now in charge. Hope and a dream with Kesnit taking that first shot towards mid, but no casualties. Now, again, creeping, contact play up towards the side. Watching all the angles here. Catches Rooney while he's jiggling, but not enough to get the kill. And with all that going on, putting a stop as well to any sort of lurks that might be occurring. Lovely flash to try and re-peek, but Kesnit, I mean, that's a great shot in itself. Dropping down now to stun, to push it away. Jake, he needs help. A relief from the pressure, surely. Run and gun does it again. Klaus is there with the stingers, working, magic working, everything. Plant now starting to go down. Dash to reposition. Players are low, players are weak. Have to find these shots, they have to find their heads. Close to the corner, blinded up again. Kesnit, 26. That's his health, that's all he's got. And they know how low he is. Cloud9. Love to do that. Toying with their food is what it feels like, but it's just smart play. Jump around the corner, cut up the angles.
I thought you meant shooting the body.
Well, they do like to do that as well, yeah. Embodiment of North America, really. Just that pure disrespect.
It definitely is. Crew are going to have to start the comeback now if they want any chance here at winning the series. Because it feels like these first 2 maps were something special that they brought out. And now it's back to normal. And I'm afraid we've seen this all season long from Crew. They've had chances to win matches, and then they've let it slip away. Sometimes in heartbreaking fashion, like on map 1 on Lotus, and sometimes they're just getting smoked.
Yeah.
At the moment, it's looking like a smoking. The Cloud9 bonus round, though, does not have too much weaponry behind it. But when you have Jake and Rooney on sheriffs and the others on weapons they can spray with, any round is winnable.
It just feels winnable, doesn't it?
Any round
We've
is
seen
winnable.
it too often.
Far too often. They've broken the Valorant economy.
Breaking that Trailblazer early and getting out with his life. Zelsis. That does a lot, actually. It means they have to really, if they want to try and push through mid-clear to close corners, but now you might see another fight taking place. It's a fault line off of the contact of their own. They want to take the fight to them. Flash around the side. It's almost perfect there. Nax was fully blinded up. Still returns with a kill. And Kesnit's there as well to answer back whenever there was a follow-up.
Going to put a lot of pressure on Rooney now, anchoring from this back map kind of area. Got a couple of flashes, but that's usually only going to be good for 1 flash re-peek.
Here we go. Moving through. No connection there. Slide off angle.
Zeppa's getting ready to flood in.
And what can you do here? No way! What a shot! Maybe opened it up. Angles watched for. Stinger doesn't win that.
Spike planted.
Even with the headshot.
Yeah. Sometimes it feels like it does. Shots rattled. Kesnit contains it. So okay. Heard that Vamos from across the stage. They needed it, Crew. They needed that.
And no damage to the economy. They come out fairly clean. They're dodging a lot of this breach utility very nicely. It was something that Valen was talking about on the desk right before we went into this map, that the supportive utility has just not quite been predicting the places that Crew is playing that often. That can be one of the struggles with playing against a team that's much more loose. They don't really adhere to the same timings that the other top teams do. Like that, for example. Kesnit just swings out at the beginning behind his own Viper wall. He's not even really got proper vision.
Yeah, I mean, he feels like he's getting some of these kills just granted to him.
But when you're as good as Kesnit, yeah, sometimes you do just get him.
Flex it as well. That
Delivered
raw
on your
skill.
doorstep.
Yeah.
He's got 21 kills in 16 rounds. But we're still waiting for somebody else on Crew to come and help him.
But we know this play style from Crew now. We've been watching it for a couple of maps. They get the first pick. They don't rush into things. They're slowing it all the way to a crawl. What more can they get from it? It's sometimes worked against them, actually. I will say in a lot of these rounds, they're not as proactive at taking space or another area of the map. And they let the clock be their worst enemy.
Yeah, we haven't exactly seen rounds tossed away with 10 seconds left or something, but they've certainly missed out on a few key opportunities by playing this slowly. I think broadly speaking, though, it has thrown Cloud9 off.
Yeah. Hard to get a grasp on that. Smoke drop. That's supposed to be giving a bit of coverage as well to the players who are anchoring Satchel down to the side. Zeppa's good for just the one, but eventually removed. Davies in the fight, active. Snakebite is great. Nagzet clearing that back corner so Jake could not anchor. His post-plant positioning is looking a lot better now for KRU. No one really grouped up towards the back of the site. A lot of angles watched for here. Flash to reposition. They hear this from Kesnit. Celsius knows he's there. Jump spotting. No one's watching that one. Takes an attempt of it. He was thinking that Kesnit was going to re-peek and try and get that one, but he doesn't take the fight. Spray transfer, not good enough. Double face. Is it there? Rooney reloading. Close to the corner. No confidence from Melty. It's getting so scrappy. But a pellet to the shorty will do it.
And that is a massive round for KRU to get. It seriously turbo boosts this comeback. It knocks Cloud9's economy back down, and they're not the best team to try and get the easy rounds against, but actually so far, KRU have been handling it relatively well. And the gun round success is there. They're finding the first kills, and they're being able to slow the round down and then end in an exec. 5v4, plant down. It's all been quite formulaic, but very good, and it all starts with these first clashes, the early engagements, of which Cloud9's trying to take one here in B.
Yeah, and you're just not going to be favored. Too many positions to hide.
But also
flashes them, I guess, then.
Great shot by Melzer.
Yeah, and to react to that. That's the KRU now. Making sure that they group up. They're leaving Nags just to lurk towards A, or at least hold that ground so there's no more re-pushing attempts. But do they anticipate this? This is Rooney taking contact, spots this one out. He's buying time. There is the anticipation, but does it even matter? Zeppa again. The Stingers, no, Nade will clear him. Takes him out of that position. Pull as well to see if they can punish. Aftershock is a bit delayed. Rooney scampering, running away, trying to play for his life. There's a fault line there. Leaf attempted to assist Kesnit. When he's like this, just looks unstoppable. Feels like it doesn't slow anything down, even when he knows he's against the ecos. Just empowers him more. He's not worried about giving away weapons. Not worried about losing fights.
Yeah, we've been talking a lot about KRU getting an early advantage and then slowing the round down. They did the opposite there. They got the advantage and barreled into B once they cleared up those players in B main. And they know that B is going to be a lot easier.
Yeah.
If you've pushed out B main, you don't normally have many players also anchoring the site.
Gun here.
So I think at the moment they're reading the Cloud9 eco plays really nicely too. They recognized instantly that Rooney's attempt in B main was a bait for Zeppa around the corner. Sure, the first player falls, but they actually dealt with it lovely. And now, coming into the next round, they have a showstopper, they have a cosmic divide that they can use to go for some kind of big hit.
So to Cloud9. The war chest is full with ultimates. All 5 online this upcoming round. What better way to put a stop to this run that KRU have got on? String of rounds.
Nags is also 1 away from his ult, and that's basically all 10.
Yeah.
And Cloud9 are going to take a tactical timeout here to discuss the next round coming up, because if Cloud9 lose it, both teams are going to invest a ton of ults here, because it's a massive swing round. And if Cloud9 lose it, that's a disaster. They're then creeping ever closer to this being an even score. And like we said, KRU's comp, it has looked like it's going to be attack-sided. So you do not want to be on the less favored side at an even scoreline when you're so favored in this match. And I think this bears reiterating because the game has either been close or KRU have been in the lead the entire time. And there could not be a larger gulf between these two teams. Cloud9 is second in the standings right now, but almost everybody is power ranking them at the #1 spot.
Yeah.
That seems to be community consensus, not just a hot take from the analysts. And at the bottom, KRU are literally at the bottom of the tables, although most people are putting MIBR below them. But either way, that's top 2 versus bottom 2, no matter which way you slice it. And you're expecting, yeah, okay, Americas has had some parity. Yes, the games have been close. But surely this isn't, and yet it has.
Yeah.
And not even just close. KRU have been in the lead for the first 2 maps. Significant leads.
A fire lit under them. Last chance in the split to do some damage to a team that's just been rolling over most of the opposition. I mean, you think about the amount of one-sided games that Cloud9 have had. But here we go, grouped up for KRU. Nothing to match them on the opposite side. It's a Cosmic Divide and a showstopper!
I've got
How did
your
they see
trail.
that?
Wow.
Zephyr just satcheling away?
Yeah, just sent into B Heaven, and it bounces off the wall and it splashes onto Zephyr. So that takes him out. So there's no showstopper to try and get back into this on the retake.
And that's big. But Viper's Pit drop down Seekers as well. They have this lockdown. This is going to clear the way onto the side.
They have nade.
Stretch into the back of the side. They do have a nade, but can they break it? Don't quite
They're
have
not
the
even going
sideline.
for it.
Dog in their face. Stunned. Rolling Thunder now. Might be the next layer to it. Aftershock in the corner. Yeah, that's to try and punish. Nags is feeling the heat. He's feeling all of it. Jumped in his face. Tries to wrangle his rifle down to collect a few more. There's the nade. Plants coming through. It's half. Stuck onto the defuse. Cosmic Divide in their face. They have to play up here. Time running out. Someone has to stick this as a pull in their face. Rooney. He's left scrambling for answers. And there's none in sight. The right answer, the right approach. KRU invest in all those ultimates, finding the opening picks. Now they lose everybody, but they take the round.
No worries.
And their economy's in a great spot, so that really doesn't matter. There's the first pick coming through. And Zephyr's barely died first in this map whatsoever.
Yeah.
And yet him going down means no showstopper. And the way in which they play the post plants here from KRU is delightful. The nade was saved the whole time from Davies, so that stops Leaf from full sticking it when the Cosmic Divide comes through. And then they still have a pull on the spike from Melza that stops the next half from coming through.
Yeah.
They just delayed that excellently.
And
That was everything.
It was everything, wasn't it? I mean, you just look at the
Covering
state
it.
of the ult economy on either side. It's just Zephyr with anything left, and that was just because he was the first death in the previous round, so
9 ults were used.
saved it, yeah.
9 ults were used. And I said how devastating it would be if Cloud9 lost that. Unless they win this Thrifty, it's going to be essentially an even game.
Yeah, that's the painful thing about Cloud9. You want to use these rounds to talk about the storyline, set someone else up, but you have to take them seriously with the Stingers, the Sheriffs.
Yeah, because they've just proven such a formidable danger with them.
A lot of time burnt early. Down to 50 seconds in this round without too much to show for it. It's KRU. Again, that crawl. Not making any noise. Kesnet was just taking the space as much as he was offered.
But these rounds become very dangerous when Zephyr's the only person with an ult online and it's a showstopper. There's 30 seconds left right now. Zephyr's still not rotating yet.
I mean, you're trying to run the time down. Look at this smoke as well. Zelsa's place inside of it, jumping into the smoke. It's traded. Oh, Shorty at play. Flash into the back here.
Now
They can't
Zephyr
get
is
in.
here. Now
22
Zephyr is here.
Zephyr is here, and the rocket is ready! Unleashed to the side, yet still, it's managed. Put it down before it got really dangerous. And the spike is planted to buy them that extra time to maybe extend it forwards, and that is going to be the case. Jake picked up the rifle, but in a 1v3, listen, he's got the money to buy next round. He's going to have that loser's bonus kicking in. Why not go for it? Why not try and put a stop to it? Isn't it there? Jiggle. Closer to Shorty. In the air. Drops him.
What a comeback. What a comeback from KRU so far. They've managed all of these difficult situations very nicely. And it does feel different, this approach from KRU. They've brought a level of composure to this match where they're able to slow things down in the mid-round. It doesn't have to be to an absolute crawl, but they can just put a little pause in there and think, okay, Zephyr's going to try and hit us with a showstopper here. Let's group up and make sure he doesn't get value. He only goes 1 for 1. And they're not caught in the chaos like we've sometimes seen from this team.
The improvements are there. If you just compare this kind of performance versus the rest of the split. Now they're one step away from equalizing the scoreline. One more round. Bit of spam, bit of damage. Davies healed up. Standard play for most teams on this map, just to try and take away that mid control. Okay, that spots him out, stunned. The Cloud9 want to try and approach this. I mean, they're taking a fight towards Mail at the same time while this occurs at ramp, isn't it? Has the dash though to disengage. Vulnerable, fades away. Zelsis, he survives it. And Rooney's there playing anti-flash. Instantaneous. Resetting. He's low. but he still finds the kills, and it's all just being met towards heaven. Spike in the hands of Melzer. Too much to do. Too much indeed. Met his match there. The Cloud9 put a stop to it.
It's a really important round for Cloud9 to get on the board, and I love the way that KRU approached it. I think as soon as Kesnit spotted Zellsis stuck in the corner, they send out a snakebite and really try and fight that. Doesn't work, so Kesnit backs off, and the players that were in mid tried to crunch onto Zellsis and onto Rooney. And it was only because Zellsis was able to land that first kill and Rooney dodged a flash that they avoided being crunched there completely. I still think KRU had a great call to go for that, but it didn't work out. Cloud9 outplaying them, dodging the utility pressure. We have so many rounds here before any ults come back in play because they were all used at the same time. These are going to be dry fights, and Jake is in a one-and-done position.
Yeah, close to the corner.
Such a gamble.
He wants to take a fight. I mean, oh, Melzer.
And because they're not pressuring him, this stops being a one-and-done. Because he can just pop the smoke up and leave. If they had committed to B, could well have been stuck.
Plays like that steadily become the difference maker. Can barrel rounds out of control, and when Cloud9 are one more away from getting onto that match point, it can make the difference. So it's up to KRU to try and offset it.
This turret takes contact.
Yeah, up into heaven.
Stuns.
Rooney stuns. He's pretty close up to this, though. Is there going to be a gap close? Turret there. No, wasn't holding it. Gets the gun out. Drops down to the ground. Nana swarms on either side of him. Rooney is safe. Waits it out. Bides his time, but there is that return off the fire. There is that trade. Dropping down. So damn dangerous. But it's equalizing on either side. Still down to a 2v3, though.
Safe plant.
Around the corner, has the Seekers in his hand, so Klaus could make something of this one, but the positioning is not good. The health is not good. Zeppa still with the nade as well. He can clear this one all the way through. There it is onto the corner. Klaus lucky to not go down while he was dogging. A pull, a flash. There, Leaf gets it. Leaf finds it. 2 to bring his team up now to that map point, to the match point.
And on Lotus, it only took Cloud9 one single opportunity in order to close it out. It was absolutely heartbreaking. A 12-6 lead from KRU that ended up being finished 15-13 in favor of this Cloud9 squad. How many attempts will it take them now? Up 12-9 with a chance to just put KRU away.
Yeah.
And give themselves a serious opportunity at being the #1 seed in Americas. Something we haven't talked about too much over the course of this match because it looked like Cloud9 might not even win the game.
Yeah.
But if Cloud9 win just this one next round and secure the victory, they could be at the #1 spot if Leviathan beat Loud later on today.
That'll all be decided at the end of the day here, the matches in Americas, so lots to play for still if you are Cloud9, even though it is up in the air. If you don't know how important that #1 spot is, it means you avoid NRG potentially as an opponent. Obviously, NRG still have to get through the #6 seed before that match is even played, but
NRG are locked in third.
Locked in third. And it's the 2nd seed team that will have to play either that 3rd or 6th team. So that's the way it'll work out. Big deal to try and lock in that top spot in the Americas.
But that also means that Loud are going to be trying their hardest against Leviathan.
Yeah.
So
multiple variables that have to come together.
Yeah, absolutely. Nevertheless, the focus remains on this upcoming situation. Cloud9 find themselves in a good spot here. It looked like KRU were making the comeback. They got it all the way to 9-10. And Cloud9 have found some ways of getting back in. These first engagements have not really been going the same decisive way of KRU.
KRU setting up, though. Looks like they want to try and burst into this. Although, Kesnit isn't with them. Kesnit is on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
He's the one watching that A angle, so maybe not.
It's a little bizarre, isn't it? Jax takes the orb, so he's one away from Viper's Pit, but doesn't have the spike. So no guarantee that he gets up to the ult in the round. And that Trailblazer just sees everything in market. It sees that there's nobody there whatsoever. So they're not worried about mid in the slightest. They can go back over to B main. The Cloud9 go for a re-clear in time to realize that this is ending A.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because this entire time, I think Kesnit was just holding, making sure nobody picked up that orb and maybe holding the line. So they're going to give Nags this orb, I imagine. That's why they were farming it up. There's the flash. That gives Cloud9 info. Forwards, though. Smokes drop down either way. Kesnet really being forced out of them as well from the nano swarms, but they gain control of the site. Now, how do they want to play it? Spike in the hands of Nags. Safe plan as well. He will get that ult line, assuming he's not pushed off of it. Nade close. Fight taken. Fight won for Zelsis. Doubles that one up. No fine in sight. Now we see the pit. Might play a portion here with the lockdown to back them away. Cloud9 are not wasting any time. They want to take the fights and they force them. It's so unfavorable right now. Crew need a miracle. They need to find the fight. They need to react to this, and they just don't do it. In the blink of an eye, it's over like that. Crew looked formidable, but ultimately it was Cloud9 that woke up, and it's Cloud9 that take the series.
A bit of adrenaline coursing through the veins of all of the Cloud9 fans out there as they thought this was a match that looked like they were going to lose. And to be honest with you, Crew 12-6 up on Lotus. They can look back at that VOD review and they will be heartbroken about it.
Yeah.
They end the season the same way the entire season has gone, with a close game, a winnable game, but a loss. And that's got to be such a tough pill to swallow. Cloud9, though, they've got a chance of being our #1 seed in Americas. It all comes down to the game coming up next. A clash with the LATAM #1 team going up against what was previously our undefeated team in Americas.
Yeah, that loud matchup that's going to be taking place after this has that importance. A lot to play for.
Yeah, you avoid NRG, who are the only team that has beaten Loud so far. These playoffs are set up to be phenomenal. And I think Cloud9 will bring a different level. I really do believe that Ascent composition was just to throw their opponents off in terms of the prep work.
A little bit of subterfuge.
But at the same time, they did look shakier today, and that's really not knowable until we get to playoffs, how much of that was due to the reduced stakes, or whether it is a genuine wobble. It's hard to tell. This team actually has defied expectations constantly in terms of their experience levels. There's a lot of people out there who've been waiting for the cracks to show.
Right, the drop-off.
At some point, the inexperience will show. Who knows? At the moment, it's clean sailing.
Yeah, a question still up in the air, but we'll find out even more as well as we head deeper into the playoffs. For now, though, Cloud9, a win here today puts them in contention for that #1 seed. Still, obviously, yet to be decided, but lights out performance from some individuals. Zephyr really stood up to the test.
Yeah, he played monstrously on map 3, didn't he? He was just absolutely dominating those first engagements on the attack side as well. Oh, happy birthday.
It was birthday, man. It's great. Yeah, well, Crew will be heartbroken with that one. I mean,
It was definitely more of a banger of a game than I was expecting, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was in their hands, nevertheless, but, well, they are going to be the most defeated team in the Americas, sitting at the bottom of those standings.
Yeah,
well,
they joined DFM.
yeah, unfortunate. Don't want to be joining that group, but still, that's the way it landed. With that being said, let's send it all back down to Dash and Ades to break down the match that we just seen.
Thank you so much, Bren. They were made to work for it, that's for sure. But Cloud9 ultimately come out on top in a hard-fought 3-map series. Sole possession of first place, at least for the next hour or two until Loud takes to the stage. We'll have to see how that one plays out to see if they end the regular stage here, still in possession of that #1 seed.
I think at the Sentinels tweet before their game this week, where it's like, what's the most Sentinels thing that could possibly happen? This is just what is the most Crew thing that could possibly happen. They come out, they look great, they have a fantastic game plan. They nearly upset on map 1, lose a 12-6 lead, come out swinging on the second map, actually close out the lead, and then despite having good ideas in the second map, still lose.
No, don't forget the fake comeback on the third.
Oh, yeah. Of course, sorry.
That's part of the recipe. It's very important.
I mean, think about this, though, right? Like, we were one round win in map 1 when they were on map point for 7-8 rounds in a row, that this could have been a 2-0-4 Crew. And so, again, not to gloss over how much Cloud9 had to work just to get this final win of their stage.
I mean, you could also see just how scrappy this was in this round, right? Where it like starts with Cloud9 having this great idea, we're gonna throw this fake, it works perfectly, I'll bite on, and it ends with a 180 op quick scope and then just knifing somebody.
Yeah, we all had the same reaction back here too. Just like, don't know what to do with my body. So we're just freaking out.
This game was end of season madness. And I don't think you should walk away from this with like lowered Cloud9 stocks, because I think it was clear that they were trying new things in this final week.
Yeah.
But still, they did manage to close out, bring it back, and that counts for something.
Crew was hitting in this game.
Yeah.
Like, they were actually hitting shots, and they did a lot of very good strats throughout the entire series. This was not like one of those give-up best-of-3s by Crew. That's why this is so heartbreaking. It's literally the exact same formula that we saw from them probably 6 times this entire stage, and it's just like, how did they end this split with 0 wins? They are the best winless team I've ever seen.
Yeah, definitely a bit of heartbreak there right at the end of the season for them. When it comes to Cloud9, I do want to talk about Leaf as an individual. We've put a spotlight on him many, many times, especially opposite a player like Kesnet in this series, right? When Kesnet was on point, you're definitely looking at Leaf to put up some numbers, and he's had some ups and downs for sure.
Yeah, I think this is probably the worst individual performance he's had thus far this season, but that's just fine because they still end up winning. He's just consistently so amazing that even when he has a game that's just fine, it is a standout. But I think it definitely made it harder in the first 2 maps, in those first 2 rounds where he was struggling a lot to get involved with those opening kills, particularly on the Neon on Lotus. But I think Cloud9 still did a good job at coming out and recovering even when he was playing poorly. This is a team who has so many individuals that can step up.
And allow me to cope some more as a
Please.
North American fan.
Please.
Crew had a lineup change. Leaf preparation duelist couldn't prepare very well for this best of 3.
Okay.
That's a good
All right.
cope.
I like that. That is solid cope.
Yeah,
That is solid cope. We also do need to say goodbye to Crew, at least for the time being, until we see them again at LCQ. And Sean, I'll reference what you've already said here. The best winless team I've ever seen. And I don't mean that to be disparaging. It really is how many times how close they were to taking a series win.
Yeah, if you put this team up against all the other bottom of the barrel teams in the international leagues right now, you pull out DFM, you give them a rematch versus MIBR, I think they destroy all of those other teams that have struggled. You cannot discount how close every single series that this team played was. They've just been on the precipice. They've been having this roster limbo of switching back and forth, and now looking towards LCQ. They need to take those losses, learn from them, keep up with this consistent roster, and I think there's a realistic chance that they can make a run.
Yeah, I'll just call it that individually. While I always knew Kesnet was good, he's always been a pleasure to watch, especially on the international stage. Davies, for me, has kind of been one of the shining lights throughout the stage that I've gotten to know a little bit more and impressed by his play. All that said, is Cloud9 who come out the other side victorious. Let's send it down to the stage. Rivington is standing by with Jake for our Verizon post-match interview.
Thank you, Dash. I am joined by Jake for the Verizon post-match interview as Cloud9 end the stage so strong. And I got to start off with Leaf's comment throughout this game that coming into this could either be a gun fest or a snooze fest. And I think you guys got the gun fest. Talk to me about playing against Crew in this last match.
They didn't miss a shot the whole series. I'm not going to lie. Peak Davies or Kesnet, I was dead in a second, and I felt like it was really oppressive to play against them. And honestly, their strats are still so good. Like, it's not just them shooting their gun. Like, they actually played good Valorant today, I feel like.
But what did it take for the team to come back in that 12-6? What were the comms like there as backs were against the wall?
I mean, Zelsis always, like, when we're down a lot, Zelsis will always give, like, a pregame speech. Like, we call a timeout at 12-6, I think it was, and he'll just give a good speech. He'll rile everyone up. He'll make sure we're calming, talking to each other, communicating, swinging with each other, because before we were just taking individual fights because we're like, oh, we're better than them, but that's just not the case. They were owning us, so we had to start with our teamwork first, and that's what he helped with.
Amazing to see the mid-round or even mid-series autos be called there. Play differently. And we got to go back all the way to the start, Jake. 2 weeks before the stage begins, you joined the team. Did you ever see the team fighting for first place?
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't, but I knew we were gonna get playoffs. I knew we were gonna get playoffs, and I knew we were gonna do decent and up to better than people's expectations, because people expected us to like rank 10th. Like, you saw Platchat, you saw even like the Valorant rankings, they ranked us like 10th or 9th at the start of the split, and we knew we were gonna go to the playoffs, but first is something I never saw coming.
Talk to me about the experience for you real quick, and just those 9 or 8 weeks, being able to overcome any of the stress, any pressure, and just jive completely with Cloud9.
I mean, there's pressure with every match. I still get nerves till this day. Like, I'm still shaking like in the first map always, but I always recover, and I like calm myself down by like reminding myself I deserve to be here, breathing, stuff like that. And everyone on the team helps with that. Like Zelsis, Seppa, and Leaf. Like, anytime I do a clutch round, they tell me to breathe and I calm down, and they just all help like me get better every single week.
That's amazing. I love to see it. We got a match coming up next. Obviously, you guys are locked in second, but you want that first. Loud Leviathan. What are you looking at for that match? You think Loud's still going to take it?
I think Loud's gonna take it. It's gonna be 2-1. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Depends on maps. If they go Pearl, I think Leviathan could take it. But if they don't go Pearl, I think Loud takes it for sure.
Jake, thanks so much for the insights. Cloud9 ending the split strong. We got some Prime Gaming post-match highlights coming at you before that Leviathan game. Don't go anywhere.
Match 1 of the day getting underway. It's Cloud9 playing for first seed. It's KRU looking to end their season on a high note.
It's flank timing coming all the way round. Kesnit, he sniffed a portion of it out. At least there's a spray down. One for one, Kesnit. 4 in a round, and he wins it out for KRU. Where's the post-plant positioning? Davies is going to do the most from this angle because he is one of that final line of defense, but wow! Woo! So many first steps, the wider swing, the wider fight taken. Cloud9 looking to salvage it. Zephyr, oh my goodness! The fight to be taken. In the blink of an eye, just like that. Cloud9 take it. It took 1, but they do it eventually. No way, no one clears it. Mistakes are made. Let's go.
The Trailblazer.
Paranoia as well. Can't see a bloody thing. Davies collects it. Yep. Accuracy is key. Davies still. Oh my God! Davies. Was the side of Jenny. Still need to find their shots. Jake alive, but not for much longer. Not when Kesnit is this active, and he's got that confidence. KRU take map number 2. Shots there could have found a little bit more, but only the 1, and it is so damn clean. Forwards, no way, Zephyr misses that. Kesnit can't be getting away with this.
Enemy remaining.
Hitting that, doesn't land the second shot. Is denied. Okay. In the blink of an eye, it's over like that. KRU looked formidable, but ultimately it was Cloud9 that woke up, and it's Cloud9 that take the series.